So this is us queuing up with the proper motorbikers, heading off on our Spain trip. There's my little red Honda with my helmet and stuff on it, surrounded by all these proper bikes. The chap with the bald head, boringest man in history. Deb was talking to him at length about panniers, I think. It's going down into the Pont de Ven, lower deck for us because it was a busy ferry, and then you go down into the pits and bowels of the boat. Not like on a return, I'll show you that in a bit. This was very much more just a big boat full of things getting to Spain, and all these bikers were going to be heading off to the Picos with their panniers, and they're all riding Triumph Tigers or BMWs or whatever it is. Very difficult at this point to work out quite what's going on. I'm following this chap in front of me, and not quite sure at this point whether I'm going to be going forward to the left where he thinks he might be going, or am I going around to the left like that chap's just nudging around there. No, don't know. So this is very much how it is getting in the boat. So I think what I do is I find my way forward and see where I'm told to go. And I'm told to go there. Oh, okay, round the corner. We've got Deb on the back here. Oh no, she jumped off a minute ago. We're pedalling around. Try not to ride down the cable, because that would make me wobble and fall off. Lots of people say how very slippery this deck is. Apparently there's videos some of the boring people were talking about on YouTube of skidding about. I presume what they do is zoom up in first gear and then skid everywhere because of the wet paint. So he's just getting me lined up so that I'm in line with the thing. Handbrake on, engine off. He's just, look, chappy there in front getting the cable ready to strap things down. They've got hundreds of bikes on this thing, so they're really in a time pressure to get it all done. You can see from that Africa Twin behind, it's got a sort of pillow over the seat and a ratchet strap holding it down to that sort of cable running along the floor. So we've got to get our stuff out and get up to our room and abandon bike. So let's get that up. I got one bag. Let's close that up. Get the other bag out. Here, well, this is Deb's bag with the there's my cushion. This has the case here. Close that up. Strap. And what am I doing? Finding that key for there. What do we got in here? This is the, oh, there's Deb, hello. This is the bag, Sainsbury's bag of crunchy snacks, cans of drinks for the trip, plenty of water for Deb, all that. Thought we'd better take that. It was a 24-hour journey. So, oh, it's so busy. Oh, what's this? This must be us on the boat. There we are, still in Mill Bay. And it's a lovely thing. Look, it's got layers and lovely sort of sitting areas. Oh, we've got food as well. Gambas and coffee. That would be for Deb. There she is. Spanish prawns, French prawns. It's crevette, I think it was actually, not gambas, so it's French. And there we are, sat on the lovely boat in the English sun. Get ourselves a couple of chairs, and we can sit there and watch the ferry get underway. Off we go. Look how fast that is. It's like a bloody speedboat, isn't it? Whizzing out to sea. We're going to get up to a grand old speed of about 24 miles an hour as we go across. Possibly, did we get up to 28? Maybe something like that. It's really fast. Not. But you look at all that power. I mean, that water is surging. Huge, must be huge propellers underneath, just churning that much water. As we head on out, last sight to Devon for a while. This is then crossing the Bay of Biscay. I took a video of this because it's only about a 20-second snippet, but it's just so very still. We were sort of worried about videos of cruise ships crossing, you know, with huge waves crashing and everything smashing about inside, and we certainly didn't get that. We arrived in Santander. Beautiful blue sky, lovely and warm. What a gorgeous bay. First sight of those mountains, and it does look enticing, doesn't it? And we're who am I following here? Come on, pay attention. And then we go around. There's our boat. Look at the Pont de Ven. It's quite big. And that little foredeck we were sat on, watching nothing much because it was so flat. But it was a great crossing. There we are. There's mountains again in the background. Amazing. And so here we go along and do the passport checks and so on. Now, an hour outside of Santander, I'd found a little place online that looked like it served coffee with a nice view, and that was quite right. Here we are. Look, the cafe in there, right up on this cliff above this gorgeous view down towards Bilbao, and the coves, and absolutely stunning. And then heading on, I suppose past Bilbao at this point. What does the road sign say? Yeah, Bilbao. And I think, yeah, here we are. There's some fancy bridge coming up, and there's beaches off to the left. Probably off to the left. Can we see it with this? I've got to concentrate on the one hand on looking at the road and also taking in the view. But it was rather a stunning bridge, I thought, as well, actually. So, worth a little snip. And then on the other side, it's some bloody gas refinery or something like that. I suppose they've got so much coastline, they don't really care so much about it. In England, that would be a holiday park or something. Marvellous stratification. Just like a good puff pastry. And then we got into San Sebastian. This is the little room we had above the bar, and looking out, here we are, onto the and there we are, right. So we've got a bar Basque below us, and La Concha Beach right in front of us, and it was just glorious. This is when Caroline didn't want to do a FaceTime, so instead I had to take a little video to send it to her, as the sun had just set over San Sebastian, and we were looking out at that. It was just gorgeous. It's a beautiful bay, and lots of people promenading. That's the building we're in, just by that lowest left orange light reflecting in the window. And then we headed south, east, south, something like that, down the Spanish side of the Pyrenees, and this is Jaca. It's got, just by randomly, we had a really nice lunch, and this amazing old cathedral that's apparently really old, don't know. And then obviously in Spain, being as arid as it is, they've got to make the most of the mountains, and they do seem to like having their traffic go through streets. So I drove down some little street. I'm not sure really it should have been driven down. It was on, but it was on the TomTom, so I did. Roundabouts, don't go left round it, go right round it. And then from Pamplona we ended up at Jaca. This is the ancient old cathedral at Jaca, which I can't remember anything about as I'm speaking, but it was a glorious little place. And then from Jaca we went out before Jaca we went out the lake. It's a little bit out of sequence, this, but we then went from Pamplona towards the out of Navarre and into Aragon, and to do that we went down this lake section. They've obviously built a dam on the river Aragon, and first thing is, actually we turned off the motorway following the sat-nav, took us down this windy road, and actually it just terminated in some dirt track and a dam just off to the right there. which I would suspect wasn't really the plan. So it's off-road. So instead we went back up on the thing, reset the sat-nav, took a different route, and ended up going along here. And you can see, obviously, with the trees growing up through the lake, it's fairly new, I'm going to guess. Probably doesn't spend a lot of time being that high or full. I suppose here we are at the beginning of May, and it's full from the runoff from the Pyrenees snow meltage over the winter. It's one of the thoughts actually coming in May was whether the High Pyrenees would be passable. Some motorcyclists we spoke to when we got to the top says their route home they weren't able to take because it was still blocked by snow. So at this time of year there's obviously still plenty of water runoff, and it's just so very blue, gorgeously blue, and it was a lovely warm day. This, I can't remember what the actual temperature was, but we were sort of easily mid to high 20s maybe, and this lovely dry heat, and we were bowling along. Very little traffic, such a scenic road on that time of year. You'd think there might be more people out and about looking at it, but perhaps over time they'll develop it more or turn it into more of an attraction or something, because I know when I went and saw blue lakes like this before was in British Columbia when I was a kid, and the lakes there were, all the locals would go, kids would jump in their pickups and dash out to the beaches and swim of an evening, drink beers, go sailing, using the water available. Whereas in Spain there didn't seem to be any of that going on. Perhaps it's just too hot for them, maybe it's in the culture. Culture seems to be thick wall buildings, shutters, batten down the hatches during the heat of the day. Maybe we're just out at the wrong time. Wow, amazing, look at that. Isn't that great? And 2 cars at once, wow. Traffic jam. Yeah, getting off their views. About 10 kilometres long, this lake, I think. And the dam at one end isn't that massive, actually. So it must be a fairly sort of flattish area. It's not like the deep valleys that you see sometimes for putting dams in and that sort of thing like they do in China. But it was gorgeous nonetheless. Coming out, got an amazing amount of spattered by flies and things this day. There's a lot of agriculture going on around in that area, and I suspect as part of that it's just the insect life is high. Look at all that washed away, eroded cliff and sedimentary gravel layers. I suppose you could probably just pick away at that. It's gravelly, I imagine. How long does it take for gravel to turn into stone? Or is it stone already in just pieces? I don't know. Wasn't along. Now on this day we were going to be going from San Sebastian to Pamplona to Jaca to Bielsa, and then over the Pyrenees to Ludenville, which is a sort of ski resort up in the French Pyrenees. So today, on this day, we were just trying to get a lot of miles in, but also match it with some decent scenery, which is why here I took the detour around the lake. We could have just banged on down the motorway, but I think it was worth a bit of variation, and have a little aside and go and see this, because it was rather gorgeous. What do we see as we crest the top here? More of it? No, going inland. Turn it off, that's right. So this is after, I think this must be after Bielsa. We'd stopped at a petrol station in Bielsa for a quick wee and a stop for a, what do we have? That sugar-free lemonade-y stuff. That was nice. And then we're heading up the river. What's the river called from the map? Where's my map? That was Carcassonne towards Bielsa. So we're heading up the Rio Cincha. And there's it's a gorgeous little valley. I mean, it's Oh, what do I do here? Green light, way through. Yeah, definitely. Okay, wasn't quite sure. What are you doing there? And this is rather nice. Just it's all obviously flooding down into their lake. Dam. And the nice, beautiful surfaced roads in Spain. It's quite different when you go over the top into France and you get on the French roads. But these are great. Trouble is, you don't want to commit to any of these bends. One slip on the gravel and we're both down and the bike's broken. So I was taking it fairly cautious, but oh, he wasn't. Whoop, straight past. Now where are we here? Heading up into the mountains a bit more. Wow, that's nice, isn't it? It is very like British Columbia, I suppose. Probably the mountains are bigger there. Rockies bigger than the Pyrenees? Yeah, I thought so. Watch out for rock falls, fair play. And then we're gonna get up towards the top here. And working out what to do. Oh, look at that waterfall ahead. There's a red light. What is this all about? I think this basically means one-way traffic in the tunnel. Oh, there we are. We've come through the tunnel. There's the exit on the French side. Snow-capped hills. Deb, don't pick your nose, Deb. Bit of snow at our level, not too much, and still some snow as we're heading down the valley, down towards Saint-Lary-Soulan, our Aragon wet. It's quite a decent little valley this. There were some nice bendy bits. Tunnels, these obviously aren't tunnels to tunnel through things, but more just to protect you from repeated rockfall areas, I think. And nice little river spilling down the French side, this side, from the watershed, obviously. And then as we go down, you can see, oh, this is quite a nice one. Look at that, ooh, bendy. There's a bit of a lorry coming up. I wonder how quick he's going to be. Certainly not going to get to that first one but here. So let's have a see. It's our first real hairpin. Can't remember how to do them. Keep wide. Turn in. Look up at where you want to go. Nod at the road in front of you. Keep looking up at where you want to go. Sort of managed. That's good. And carry on. Lorry's out the way. I'm not so good at going left. Don't know why. Just a bit more. Bit more cautious. Found when I was skiing, I couldn't turn right. So here we are, carrying on down the hillside. A few more of these bendy things. Remember to drive on the right. Remember to drive on the right. And on the right, Dylan. Oh, this is bendy, isn't it? Look at that. We've got to get it from there to there. So it's a bit reminiscent of when we crossed from France into Italy. We were going down the Italian side into the Po Valley. It is similar, very steep descent. But there were marmots there, and every time you disturbed a marmot on the road, you go, eek! You used to have these shrieking marmots everywhere we went. But this is good. On down. Oh, we obviously got to the bottom of the valley, and we wasn't along here. Beautiful, lush, sort of alpine meadows, very reminiscent of Switzerland now for some reason. And what have we got in the field here? Goats. Very alpine, I suppose. Heidi and her goats or whatever. Mountains, passes, lovely. And then from Saint-Lary-Soulan we went on a shortcut to Loudainville, which was our final stop. That did involve going up here to this col over the pass. Col de Laurent Azet, 1580 metres. I thought he was having a pee there for a sec. And then here we are. Now all the writing on the road suggests it's probably Tour de France type route stuff. But Deb tells me she was going along here on the back with her eyes shut, or not looking, or looking at the back of my head or something. Can't think why. It's not concerning. It's just a sheer drop. Car coming. Plenty of space. No problem. Sheer drop. Plenty of space. Beautiful mountains. And we'll just take a bend and accelerate. And slow down. Ready for the next one. And bend. And accelerate. Go on to the correct side of the road. Better view around the bend. Nothing coming, all good. We'll just keep going like this for a little while. I think I took a fairly long section of video here, so this might get a bit boring. Because it was kind of stunning views. And also a bit of interesting riding, but the whole, ultimately going forwards, going left, going right is as much as we can do with it, really. Ooh, bit of a blind bend, anything coming? No, good. He stopped on the bend, that's alright. Door open. It's obviously not much traffic on this road. Give him a nudge. Ha. Just got a bit of wobbly imbalance. Difficult. I think getting the hang of riding these bends with a pillion, actually. So obviously I know what I want to do when I lean in, but trying to communicate that with the pillion is difficult, even if you say what to do. Somehow the worry and tension of being on the back out of control makes you tense, and I'm sure it messes up the whole balance of a thing, however expert you are. Well, maybe experts don't struggle in the same way. Then we go. This looks something like a better road, doesn't it? Bit better surfaced, bit wider, bit nicer. Yeah, I think it'll be alright, this one. And now we go. Now, that lake at the bottom is roughly where we're headed, I think. That's the town of Loudainville. Ooh, do I get a bit close to the edge? No. Loudainville. As far as I'm aware, it's just a ski resort. Doesn't do anything much. Very similar sort of sense when we got there to Sas Almagal and living in the valleys and the mountains. Let's see how I do this one. Good outride, trying sort of apex-ish, not anywhere close. Oh well, never mind. And wide again, and then snug back to the right. Better view. Not very good, Dylan. Down we go. It's all downhill segments. Somehow going uphill. I don't know. Is it easy going uphill or downhill? It's difficult to say on a bike. Some people like going up with the control of the acceleration. Some people like going down with the control of gravity. It's more like sort of what we used to skiing or cycling downhill and that sort of thing. You get sort of a familiarity with it, perhaps. So I think maybe I'm more suited to going downhill. There's another bend. Not so steep. Take the apex. And round we go. Beginning to enjoy myself more. Always a tight one. And the trouble is you can't see if anything's going to be coming up. No, there isn't, but it's a bit late by then. And down and round. There's people parked over there on the right. Is that a camping spot? Don't know. It's only a couple more minutes of this downhill footage. and not fast enough, I don't think, to ever be a Tour de France outrider. They'd have all shot past me by now. They certainly come through these things much faster than I would. That's why they come a cropper over the edge sometimes, I suppose. What are we doing here? Stalling video. There we are, round this one. See the scrapes in the road. Whether that's motorbikes coming round there before, could be, I suppose. I'm sure this is the kind of road people like to get their sports bikes out on and whiz about and scare themselves and all that sort of thing. It's a bit repetitive now, isn't it? And this is later in the day. I think we were getting a bit nippy. Certainly when we got down to Loudonville, the first thought was dump our stuff in the room and go and find a bar. And that's what we did. Had a nice pint of something local. And then a relatively decent meal, actually, but again, high in the Alps. It's a bit expensive. High in the Alps, not the Alps Pyrenees. You know, none of this stuff is cheap. Everything costs more there, just for the logistics of getting things there. Oh, good luck, cyclist. And down we go. One more bend. If it's just last bend on here and then I get bored and give up recording, perhaps. Or was I just getting tired and decided it'd be sensible to? Can't remember exactly. I'm fairly sure at this point I went enough's enough and probably reach and turn it off. Yeah. So there's Loudonville Lake, surrounded by the mountains. Oh, something on my lens. Loudonville Lake, surrounded by the mountains. Didn't manage to get that thing on my lens off there, did I? And it's rather nice. It's very pretty. Kind of fresh. Kind of fresh. Let's set up there. Very nice. And then departing in the morning. This is our accommodation on the right. This is a group of sort of hotel type thing. That's the main building, and ours was the one just further back. Parked a bike in the car park off to the right. There's the bar on the left that served us so well. The shop and the Carrefour. But we got a few bits for breakfast on and sat out on this grassy area here on the right. Found a picnic table for breakfast. There we are over there. That was gorgeous. And so where are we here? We're headed down from Loudonville. I got my coat on this morning actually because it got a bit nippy. The plan that day was we were going to head down to Lannemezan and then head up towards where on earth were we going? Foix in the end, but that was going to take us to Saint-Giron. And again, this is just the sort of thing we're driving through. French roads, little traffic, open roads, bendy roads. I think this is coming into Quillon actually. I remember following that little car and trailer. And so we've now lunched and we've gone through Foix and we're just heading into Quillon. There's some castles and stuff goes on around here, but I don't think we saw one exactly on this bit of route. No traffic behind me. Thing ahead. Escarpments. Forest. Gorges. That must be the Aude Gorge. And this is just nice. I could do this all day. What am I doing? You're less than 30 miles an hour. I mean, it's not speedy. It's just kind of rhythmic and relaxing to whiz along. Quillon, which we're heading to, has a sort of old castle. This is where we stayed then for 3 or 4 nights. And supposedly now it's a bit of an up-and-coming centre in sort of France tourism in this area. Certainly a lot of Brits that seem to have bought places down there. Presumably you can fly into Toulouse and get there fairly quickly. But it's the countryside. It's just so hilly, actually, with limestone gorges and all that sort of thing. He's braking. Oh, it was tempting to see if I should overtake him, but then I'd be under pressure to actually ride faster myself, and that's no fun. I've got a car behind me now. So I'm trying not to put myself under those bits of pressure. Catch up with this in a sec. Oh, now we're talking. This is going down the gorge of the Aude. And we were heading on this day. We were planning to head to the Chateau of Pyrapetus and then Queribus, maybe? Can't remember what the plan was. But the first way of getting there, I thought there was this nice gorge, the Gorge de Galamus, which comes up in a minute. But to get down to that point, we had to just follow this main road, literally main road, between Quillon going down to Perpignan. And this is the main road, for fuck's sake. Biker, hello, wave. They always do this thing, waving at bikers. You stick your left hand out, give them a little wave. And this is rather a glorious bit of road. Round the bend, can we see anything? No. It's coming up. Nothing much. On we go. Strata looking like they've been tipped through 90 degrees. They were set vertically. And this, and that's the sort of engineering they've put in to actually make a road here. I suppose it does happen all around the world, but we just don't see so much in the UK, I don't think. Here I suppose they're obliged to follow river valleys to get anywhere, rather than going over passes. Whizzing along, I'm getting a bit of speed up here. Tunnel. Now, this is the Gorge of Galamus. Is it? Yes. That's right, because we come out past by that's right, motorbike pan-European there. And then it's lucky it's this time of year in May, because there's not that many tourists about. I can't imagine what this place would be like in the summer. You imagine probably people trying to bring bloody buses down here and that sort of thing. Ooh. Ooh. And ooh. Round the bend, nothing coming. No. Ooh. Bit of a drop. Ooh. Around the bend. Still nothing coming. We're getting away with it. And anything coming? Nothing I can see. Big rock on the edge. Go nice and slow. 10 miles an hour? It's not rapid, is it? But you wouldn't want to. You can come a cropper here and you come in a cropper. Now, what's going on up ahead? They're reversing. They're trying to get through. I've got lots of room here. I've no idea what's going on ahead. So if I snug in here, then they can squeeze by or whatever's going on. Look at that. Right. Tell them, come on through. Little wave, cheerio, and on we go. Half expected there'd be something else around this corner now. Probably could have driven forward there and let them pass. Didn't know that at the time. Just cut my losses and stay put. Ooh. Oh, what's going on down here? Round. Ooh. It's rather pretty, isn't it? It doesn't feel like you can stop and absorb the view. You just worry, I suppose, that you'd just be in the way of traffic or something if you stopped. There's not really any stopping places. A bit of a shame. I could have stopped there. But there's a sense of, lose in the middle of the road. Let's just get through this. What's coming here? And countryside. He says, doing about 10 miles an hour. This huge rock stood upright, isn't that kind of nice? And it's kind of gorge, actually. It does go on and on, doesn't it? But we're opening out into countryside now, I feel. Yes, oh, it's hardly a gorge at all. That's just a river now, isn't it? That's much better. Yes, good. We're whizzing along. Why have I carried on recording all this? Is it just because it's scenery? Nice little car park there. Vaguely recall reading on the internet about that gorge that they have a sort of traffic light system in the summer where people park up at one end, wait for the green light to go, drive on down the other end, and then vice versa. And that does make sense, I suppose. Do that on Bedford Armour. Ooh, car! Advantage of a motorbike. Never had to stop and reverse. What's going on here then? Round the corner. Caution, caution. Nothing much coming. Was along. Still kind of gorge-like, isn't it? But not bad. What's happening here? Paused, that's good of him. Now we're back into rough, open jungle countryside. Jungle, some sort of Indian word, it's desolate land or scrub or something like that. I can't remember why we looked it up. Was it to do with the use of the word J in French? Can't remember. Something like that. So, we'll find our way out of the gorge. Enough of this yet? You'll see me reach up and turn off in a second. Yeah, there we go. So what's this? This is, I think, just some video I took of the extent of the Gallimimus Gorge at the entrance to it. I might have been thinking that if I videoed it like that, I could make a video panorama JPEG. Because it's a bit weird just to be whizzing about like that, but never mind, that's probably what I was doing. Now we're heading down towards the Chateau of Parapetous. I think it's that on the top of the hill over there to the right. See how commanding it is over the plateau. And once we got there, we started walking up to it. This is the track up, with its great big views over countryside. Lovely glasses. Glad to have those in the long term. And we go up and up and up and up and up and up. There's probably some decent audio on this track actually, but I've deleted it because it's just me going. And there's the lower part of the castle. We're finally getting up to the upper part of the castle. And up and up and up and up and up and up. Yeah. God, that's a workout. Wouldn't want to do that twice. So, there we are, the views of the countryside. Amazing panorama over the Aude region. There's the lower castle below. And there's that amazing thing. Is inside the castle pretty? Well, it's not pretty, it's just a ruined block of blocks. But there's this... Oh, Deb was very interested in the rock garden here. And then I look like a gurning idiot with my mouth open, but squinting at the camera. But this is sort of a height and sort of coverage you get from this castle. You can see why they wanted to have a base up there, keep an eye on things. Wouldn't want to walk up there all the time. Walking up there once was enough. And there's the lower, earlier castle bits below. A bit more accessible, but not much. Great, isn't it? It's just a gorgeous view. Imagine bringing all the rocks up. Oh, here's the birdies. Right opposite our room in Keon was this eaves, and the sand martins had nested in there. It's a bit difficult to get a good shot because I didn't have a zoom lens as such, but you can see how they were whizzing in and out. And whizzing in and out. You can't hear the burbling noise they made on this as well because I'm talking over it. But and all the time in and out, and the little fledglings would drop out and fly off. Saw one fall down to the ground but flew off. They're kind of sweet. Lots of them about, buzzing away all day. At least you get the insects away from biting us, so that's a good thing. Oh, where are we to now? This might be the day we went down to see one of these plus beau village. Oh yes, that's right. This was not Massime. What was it called? I'll think of a name in a sec. But it was a rather gorgeous day heading out, and it's got a fancy old monastery attached to it, which I took some pictures of at some point. Oh, there we are. La Grasse. And yeah, it's supposed to be one of the most beautiful villages in France. There's a list of 100 plus beaux villages de France, and we managed to visit a few of them on our trip actually. We're just coming into town here. You can't see the best bits of it yet. There's a bridge at the bottom, nice old Vieux Pont-Vieux, and the monastery to one side. But again, if you've seen Buckfast Abbey, you've seen this one. They're pretty much the same, these modern Catholic monastery type things. We're not far from Carcassonne. Look, I'm just working out where to park on this. What's that? 36 kilometres to Carcassonne, which isn't bad at all. Those places over on the left were delightful. We had a number of places we could have stopped for lunch. Had a very nice lunch actually there. We stopped at some place or other, and oh, look, there's motorbikes. We could park in with those, but we've just gone past them. Yeah, had roast beef and roast potatoes on a burning hot day in France. It was a bit quirky, but that's just what I ended up with, and it was nice. Deb had the parcels of roasted goat's cheese or something with a mega salad. It was actually very good. But overall, for a plus beau village de France, it was alright. There were better places we've been to, I think. I mean, it's got a beautiful avenue of trees here. It's all very shady and nice, and maybe it just reflects the fact that in the summer it's cooler and nicer than some other places might be. Not sure this is the entranceway. I think someone beat me when I went in there actually. Said, "Oh, you're not supposed to drive there." But I more or less ignored them. British coming through. I suppose that was the way we got most of France in the first place, wasn't it? British coming through. Until they went French coming through back. Always try and park tidily and in line. That's one of the key things. Make sure you're parallel. Yeah, tidy. Now. You then look up and think, which way is the sun going? Where's that shadow going to go? Because you don't want to come back to a steaming hot bike. And Deb's off. Yep. And then I can put the stand down and hop off myself. Whoop-a-doop-a-doop. Key out. Unlock the front. There we are. What do we need? Put everything away. Now this was Alette-les-Bains. This is a very old cathedral. It was more or less set up by one sort of not quite bishop who wanted apparently to put his stand or stamp on the landscape so that he can have a presence in against one of the other bishops about. I'm not quite sure what was going on there. Beautiful red poppies. That was really why I think I took that shot. Beautiful red poppies, but we may well be coming up to Carcassonne. What a place. Carcassonne Castle was astonishing. And when we see it on pictures, and it's one of those most talked about Cathar castles, but it is really, really, really rather strikingly beautiful. I suppose it just probably reflects the fact it was well renovated whenever it was renovated. Because looking at it, it's got beautiful roofs and lovely woodwork and all that sort of thing. So a bit like maybe Dartington Hall was, take it from a sort of roofless ruin and turn it into something decent. Where do we go? Up here. Yeah, and I think they spent an awful lot of money and work. I don't know who spent the money, but it was beautifully done, and the castle's great, and the actual castle part inside was really nice, and worth a visit. But from there, what we hadn't really realised is we'd left Carcassonne, and then we went further north, and before long we found ourselves on the Mont Noir. And suddenly we got this massive long descent, which just seemed to go on and on and on and on. What's the Mont Noir all about? Not really sure what it's about. There was a great big war memorial up there. So I presume stuff happened. Don't know. Looking it up quickly online, nothing to tell you. But here we are now. What are we looking at? This is Alby Cathedral. It's just bricks on the outside, as I showed you. But coming inside, and there we are. Look at that. Roofs, just an amazing roof, painted, and all go through into that next section. All the walls are beautifully painted as well. Alby had this big old square. This is where all the vegans hang out, apparently. And it's got lovely water. Cool. You can imagine this summer like our kids did when we visited France before, running through those, getting squirted. It's all kind of fun. And there's a restaurant over the road where we looked at a red dog's arse all evening. But it was a nice spot. Hot. I think Alby had its hottest temperatures in May in history while we were there. Up to 33 or 34 degrees, I think, for May is quite hot, apparently. That little gelateria where I had a lovely thing. Cathedral to our left. There's the Bishop's Palace on the left. And then we'll drop down the hill here following a little delivery van. There's the Bishop's Palace. Cathedral just glimpsed. And up that side street there, that's our flat that we had just there on the right. And we were going today off to visit another plus beau village. Just trying to get out of Alby in the centre in the heat to get some air flow moving because it was so still and hot. There's the new bridge in Alby, and look at just to the left, it's the 1,000-year-old old bridge. You can just peek, a bit like Staverton Bridge, really. It's just like Staverton, this place. They're going over the old bridge, but we're going to go follow that white car up here because we're leaving town. Tools are north, so we're going to go over the new bridge up here. Wonderful old streets, and actually, do you know, the height of these things and all the shuttering and all the heat in the south of France, we never stayed in an Airbnb with air conditioning because it was always actually just cool enough with big thick walls and shutters, which is quite something. I don't know if modern builds in France do the same, but we could probably learn a lesson or two about that here rather than have shoddy little thrown up things and then risk all the insulation and heating costs. So we're heading off to that plus beau village, or whatever it was called. What was it called, actually? It was on the route to Rodez, and it was called Sauveterre de Rouergue. And this is just en route to that. Just a pretty church, so I took a little bit of video of it. And it just again shows typical rural French towns in that part of the world. Nobody about in the heat of the day. Everything a bit. Perhaps it's because they all shut everything at lunchtime. That was another quirk of France. Is 12:30 to 2:30, everything's shut, including bloody major supermarkets. Sometimes, which is just how it is there, I guess. That was me probably trying to turn the video off because I've had enough. But actually it just kept rolling. So I think after this bend, these places are for sale. I think I could stop the video and have a look and see how much they cost. But Avandra, not really what we're looking for. Not in the place. Oh, look at that pretty cloud. And then we just carry on from there. But you know, the Sauveterre de Rougère was a nice place. Now this is another interesting spot. This one is, what's that place called again? That's just northwest of Alby. It's Cordez sur Sille, and it's just an ancient sort of village, but it's really, really, really built on this sort of hilltop, just on a hilltop. And again, I think it's in the Blus Beau Village thing. There's somewhere ready to go visit, but built in the fortified town, built in 1222 by Raymond the Seventh, Count of Toulouse. He didn't have anything to lose after all by building it. But it's a prominent little town, and given if it had been a cooler day, I think we might have stopped and had a wander. But it was damned hot, and in the end we went up to Sauveterre de Rougère and sat in a cafe, had a Coke, wandered around a little bit, stopped and had a pizza, and came away because it was just really warm and pretty smooth roadworks. Always doing roadworks. I suppose a bit like here. Theirs seem to work longer. By this time, the motorbike had started making a bit of a knocking noise. I think in the heat, with us being two up, it is, look, pointy, nice hilltop. The chain had stretched a bit on the bike, so it started making this duk 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 noise every time I accelerated. First of all, I thought my gearbox was failing because it seemed to happen more in lower gears, but then I thought my front sprocket had gone, but actually I think it was just chain tension in the end. So I've tightened my chain up today. We'll see. I'll take it for a little spin, see what happens. Now, so having finished in this part of the world, we were going to then head north from Alby up into the Limousin region to another Blus Beau village, place called Troignac. But to get to there, I thought we'd take a visit down the down the low lot, don't know. And so we'd only ever once been here before, back in, oh gosh, before the kids were born, 30 years ago, something like that. And it's a beautiful river with, again, all these limestone, no idea, cliffs cut away for the road. And yeah, it's a beautiful windy thing. I just remember this road of old coming through these overhangs and stuff, having been to Saint-Cercle-la-Popie. And then we end up stopping somewhere down here at Saint-Gilles, I think, for amounted to a very good bite of lunch, actually. I had lasagna, and it was delish. And it rained on us, which is quite astonishing. Given that day, you can't see it in the clouds there. I mean, it looks from this video like it's just light blue, so, you know, whatever, but actually it did build up into a bit of a mid-afternoon thing and storm on us a tiny bit. Again, really, even down there they're using that cellophane stuff in the fields to germinate the crops. I don't think they really need it with the amount of sun they get there, but perhaps it's just beneficial wherever you live. Where are we going through here? Again, this might be one of those moments where I thought I'd stopped the video but hadn't, but actually it's really still quite a pretty little jaunt through villages and stuff. Almost looks like Brunel building on the left, doesn't it? River, cliffs, road, cyclist. What a commentary. French cyclists get a good job of it, actually. They just so little traffic on the roads, and large areas of France are actually fairly flat. So I think when they come over here and cycle, I think they must wonder what on earth hit them with the amount of traffic, state of our roads, and the degree of hilliness that we get as well. But where are we going to? Windy wind. It wasn't so hot this day, thankfully. I mean, it was warm enough to be riding just with a summer jacket and a t-shirt, but not sweatingly hot like it had been the day before. Beautiful little river, the Lot. See why people do choose to. That's that grey cloud building. That's what I'm probably looking at. Yes, I can see through a little. Oh, they cut this road through here, and then we get another little tunnel. It's almost like Dawlish, isn't it? But your ears don't pop. Round the bends, and on we go. Yeah, very fertile land. I mean, it's that paradox. You've got the fertile land in the river floodplains, but also that's the area that, if it floods, you can lose everything. We were looking at that a bit later on when we're going down the Loire Valley. The difficulty of living somewhere which has a tendency to flood. You want to live there because it's fertile and floods occasionally, but you don't want to live there because it floods occasionally. Doesn't seem to stop developers these days in Gloucestershire from building everything on floodplains. Yeah, it's a gorgeous little place. Just a nice, it's almost like, I don't want to say like Hobbiton, but it's tucked away and cute and farmerish and really nice. I think actually I finally managed to turn the video off on this straight. Let's see if the hand goes up. You can always see when I turn the video off because my left hand goes up to the screen and I click it off. Perhaps here now. Well, maybe we're just going on to where we stopped for lunch. Jeez, this is a long section. Ooh, railway. What's the road do now? Through there. Nice old barn on the right. Could do with doing that up. Cliffs over there. It's quite a landscape, isn't it? Very wooded, France. There's an awful lot of areas where there was, we saw following that track down through the from the Black Mountain was interesting, but it's all woodland, and it's all harvested woodland. Well, not all. I mean, that stuff up there on that left cliff obviously isn't harvested. Who'd go up there to harvest a tree? But there's an awful lot of France put over to manage woodlands, which is good. And they do seem to make a business of sorting out the wood and making things with it, don't they? Oh, look, boat makers. I wonder if there's much industry for boats on the river there. I suppose there must be. Looks like a little houseboat. Rather nice. Maybe that's a bit like the Severn at Worcester. People just out on the houseboats on it until the tides go mad, of course. Find yourself parked in a field. There we are, coming down the valley further. What's that? This well done. Now, what's this? We're probably going to come up at some point to that point where we stop for lunch. Good old French garages with all their crappy cars outside. Again, that's very British. Actually, it's one thing we noticed in the southern part of France. It's not very posh. People driving some clapped out old cars, trying to just keep things going. And I don't know whether it didn't seem to reflect in the French economy. Everywhere else we went in France, people had seemingly plenty of money. Out and about, every place we went sold out midweek to eat and drink. People out revelling, drinking, eating, spending lots of money. Seems like they have a good bit of disposable income. Saint-Géry, this is it. That's where we stopped for a bite, I think. Saint-Géry. Now, where is the actual place to stop? Let's have a look. I'd had a little look on TripAdvisor before we came down this way, just to make sure that I knew there was somewhere to stop for lunch. And that if there was somewhere to stop for lunch, we had somewhere nice to stop for lunch. I know it's like in winter there. as we come through, I'm expecting it to be on the left, and it's obviously not there because that's the police station. So it was up, speed up a little bit. Oops, speed bump. Coming to 30 limit. 30 kilometres, that is. They always put a decent speed bump in these places. Which Deb found out when I forgot about one or two of them. Didn't tell her. She just almost left a seat in the back. So there we are, coming to Saint-Géry. There's our little stop on the left. Look at that. Blue skies, clouds. Doesn't look too worrying at the moment, does it? But oh no, that's disabled. I'll tell you what, I'll just park on the corner of that disabled spot. That'll probably be alright. Disabled person can still get in there. Yeah, that'll do. Right. Plenty space. Right. Hop off, Deb. And you off? Yep. Good. Then I'll get off too. And there. Oh, me hip. And then we can have a look about what have we got. So from there we're departing. Had a nice lunch. I think Deb had a beer. It's a nice thing about being a passenger, I suppose. Stopping for lunch, she gets a beer. And then we're just heading back further along, I think towards there. But a gorgeous little section. These just great cliffs above everything. It was really pretty. Now where are we to? Oh, this must be coming. Oh, don't know. Maybe this is there. Thought I'd cut that section out. Oh, by the river. Looks like the same area. Bins. Not sure you can identify a place by its bins. Ooh, that's a funny old French van. Yeah, I think this must be coming up to there, to be honest. Railway coming through. Amazing how they built railways as well as roads along these river valleys. The amount of engineering required. And there's a suggestion the French were better at the engineering than we were. Deb was telling me about the Canal du Midi we stopped and looked at quickly when we were in Carcassonne. And now they managed to work the engineering of that. So you had three-way locks and that sort of thing. Oh, that must be Saint-Cercle Poppy over there. Ah, that's why I've got this bit of video section that's probably out of step. Never mind. Isn't that gorgeous? Right on a cliff with a cathedral or church or whatever, right up there high. And then, oh yeah, massive cliffs. It's just so striking. What if they ever fall down? It must do from time to time, I suppose. Natural erosion. I just wonder how quickly that happens. Maybe not that quick. Yeah, and here we are, a bit more of the lot. Oh, cliffs. Underpass, bit narrow, bit snug. Typical French roads. Remember looking back at those Spanish roads, and here's these bloody French roads. I mean, they've probably got a lot of roads, to be fair. This is a big country, but the Spanish seem to at the moment be able to sort theirs out better. Oh, tunnel. It's just like going into Cornwall, isn't it? It's not Cornwall. No, beautiful. Yeah, the whole Lot Valley was lovely, actually. And now, we found our way up. So after the Lot Valley, we got on the motorway and headed north. And here we are at our Airbnb in Trenyak. There's Deb on the death-defying recliner. We're in the top story there, half the top story there. Maybe not half. Just at the foot of the garden is the Vézère River. The lovely Vézère. It's just like the Dart, isn't it? Almost up at Buckfast. And why am I looking to see if I'm filming here? It doesn't look as though there's anything much to be filming. It's nice enough. Car and a car park. Open fields. Open landscape. Lots of farming, lots of woodland. Lots of beautiful... Actually, it's a good road, this one, having said what I said about the other roads. We've got a nice camber around the bends. And yep, there we are. I keep going up. So many moments and bits of landscape resonate with things we see here in Devon. But I think what we remember here in Devon is like one day when it was beautiful, whereas here it seems to be beautiful all the time. Though, to be fair, we did catch France in a good spell of hot weather, but I still wonder whether it was anything to do with... I think it's just my recall. You know, you think about the odd place and think, oh, I've seen somewhere just like that. But yeah, that one day when it was gloriously hot when you were there. It was a good farming landscape. Just the amount of space they have in France just to be able to do this. It's great. And just whiz along these empty roads. Hello! With nothing coming. Unless, of course, you're in Normandy and you're leaving the campsite and going around the first bend of the day, when, of course, there bloody is something coming. After Trenyak, we went up to Mortemar. And this was the lovely room we had in the old nunnery, whatever it's called. There we are, view out over the church on the right and the rest of the courtyard of it. And then we went out visiting different places from there. Where did we go visiting from there? No idea where I am at the moment. Oh no, this is right. We're heading now down the Loire. Headed north towards Saumur. And so there's the sign for Saumur, and Condé is off to the thing. And here we are on the Loire. So I thought we'd stop and have a little looky. And bloody great river plain this is. Look at the beautiful clouds and it's a glorious day. But what a river. Wow. That's something. But again, fullest I think we've ever seen the Loire, because it's the earliest in the year we've ever gone to this bit of France. Normally if we go there it's in sort of July, August, and it's pretty dried up by then. And this time of year it was beautiful, full rivers and everything. Golden Lion. And then we'll just carry on down the river. Now this is where the troglodytes live. I remember when we left somewhere last time we were there, just these coming up north, the people actually living in the cliffs. Some of those there on the left were houses built onto the cliffs, but actually people do live in the cliffs as well. Well, I don't know if they really actually live in the cliffs nowadays, but it looks like there's doors and windows and everything going on in them. And yeah, I was thinking maybe if I videoed along here perhaps it would illustrate it a bit more, but don't think it does it? Anyway, tractor. What it does go to show is the extent of the change in the river. I mean, this has obviously been built as a riverside town with a sort of quay there, whereas actually as the river's deviated and moved over time, now finds itself like that. I mean, where on earth is the river there? A mile off in the other direction? I don't know. But imagine this prosperous riverside town once upon a time, and now it's had the water snuck away from it. You'd think someone could perhaps get out there with a shovel and dig a channel and get the river back to them. But probably the farmer who owns the field wouldn't be that chuffed about it, would he? So we're coming into some more. There's the look ahead on the right, and there's the look at that great expanse of. That's obviously, I mean, the way it's been washed clear, that's obviously has been spaked at some point. Marvellous old buildings. And just on the left there, at about 11 o'clock, peeking above the trees, you can see the chateau just coming into view. Again, picture sky, look at that. It's almost comically beautiful. Last time we stayed in Saumur, we stayed right over on the right hand side of the screen, where the trees are. The other side of the river is the island in the middle of the river, and we camped there before when we were doing our other trip. And that was nice camping, but we had a view of the chateau at that point, whereas this time the Ile Dauphard, I think it's called. But this time we were going actually up to the chateau, which you can see just behind the back of the house is that little tiny pointy tower. That's the chateau, and we're going up that way. Oh, you could have nipped through there, car. I'll put my feet down again now. Centreville straight ahead. Up we go. Be a bump. Boop, boop. And down. Beep, boom. Okay. Whizzing up here. Still making that rattling noise. The chain problem hadn't resolved. I did think while we're in somewhere I might try and find a bike mechanic to have a look at it. But turns out it was Ascension Day the next day. Oh, here's the chateau, look. There we are. See, rather fine. I think if you were a Protestant, you'd love to be thrown off that by Simon de Montfort. Ooh, tunnel. And come through here. And then we come out to the roundabout. Now we're going to take a sharp left and actually head up to the parking of the ramparts parking, because that's roughly where we're going to go for the Airbnb. Airbnb in Saumur was beautiful, just under the chateau. There's a open space with shops and bars called Place Saint-Pierre, and we stopped there, literally just off the place, in a little half timbered house with nice little flat with timber roof, dip ceiling, and I was a bit concerned when I came through this bit that it was going to be one of these modern builds, but actually no. Walk down the track the other side of those. And we had this, what was it, 50, 100 yards down the street there. Beautiful half-timbered place on this square. Gorgeous, couldn't have been better. So, where on earth do I park? Parking a bike, you have to actually make sure that, because it's only got a side stand, you can actually lean it on the side stand. It's not going to roll away anywhere. Tricky. So then we ended up in Tregastel, Pluminac. This is the view from actually just the other side of our Airbnb. What a beach. It is a gorgeous beach. I mean, this is beautiful, and it's surrounded by these granite rocks, and just look at that. Isn't it great? And it's like Cornwall, but somehow just warmer. I don't know if the sea's actually warm. It's the same sea really, isn't it? That's the building our Airbnb was in, just the other side. So we didn't have a sea view, but literally 50 yards to the beach wasn't bad. And again, quite a sky. There's that great rock, a funny island out there with the carved stones on it. There's a funny island out there with a rock perched right on top. But it's quite a spot, and I think you'd fall on your feet if you managed to get yourself a place there, I think, wouldn't you? So from there, it was a short hop to the ferry at Roscoff. There's the depths of the boat. And there's the port, the Bloscol. And there's the bikey bike, with Deb looking happy. Happy to be there. And a lovely little cabin. It's got all sorts of... Ooh, I've got my pants on, honest. And then nice view out the window. Come on, focus. There it is, focus. And the boat's charging in and out. And once we get underway, we get all the splish splosh of the... Look at that. It's almost like we're going 100 miles an hour. In fact, we're going about 20. Didn't see any dolphins. Didn't see anything en route, actually. Saw some seaweed. A couple of boats. And that was about it. It was pretty decent crossing. Not too rough. Generally nice. So what then? Now we're exiting the boat in Plymouth. The ramp is going down. And there becomes clear what the problem was. There was a lorry apparently stuck. So we were all stuck upstairs waiting for this lorry to shift so that we could get off the boat. Tedious. But they're dropping the thing. Oh, yeah, okay, I'll wait. He's telling me wait, I think. I didn't get any video of my kidney stone. Still haven't got a kidney stone to show for it. I wasn't very good at waiting in the hospital in Saint-Junien. After about 6 hours, I got impatient, pacing about in my room, which I wasn't allowed out of. So I started staring out the window of my room at the nurse's station. Eventually, a senior nurse came across, told me to sit down, stop looking. So I sat down and was good for about 5 minutes, and then I went back to the window and just faced into my room. I thought they can't argue with that. I'm not looking out. I'm just stood. But at that point, they came across and moved me down the corridor to a store cupboard and sat me there. Bastards. I really think generally I irritated them somehow. Probably with the kidney stone, it's quite invisible, isn't it? I'm not short of breath and whatever. But I think they were slightly more amenable once they saw the amount of blood I was peeing out. Right, am I allowed to go now? Monsieur? Oui? Bon? Oui? Ah? Oh, ah? Can I? Yes? Permission? Yay! Oh, stay left, alright. And on we go. Remember the skiddy decks. Try to remember the skiddy decks. Don't do too mad on the skiddy decks. Mind out there, man. I can see there's a lorry, don't you worry. Which way? Left, straight forward. They're all quite happy guiding, aren't they? See which way and what not. Keep left, he said. Keep left. I'll keep left. That's a good plan. Oh! Keep right. Okay. No idea what's going on now. And here we are in sunny Plymouth. What's the state of that windscreen? So we're gonna... Which way now? Oh, yeah. Jolly good. Good they are at telling you where to go. That's kind of decent. And he held up 4, I think. That meant 4 fingers. So he said, line 4. Look at me, how obedient and good and behaved I am. There's our nice boat, Armorique. It is a good sized boat still. Ferry, boat, ship. And we're coming around here to do the needful at the customs. UK Border Force checking us out and in. Honestly, it's, as Deb said, it's quite demeaning actually having to have your passport stamped on entering the EU with your entry point and your date you arrived, and then have it stamped again with your exit point and the dates and so on. It's like, you know, there's nothing I've ever had to do going to France before. It's you know, keeping tabs on us. You stay here however many days, but you can't stay any more. And they're keeping an eye. They are actually keeping an eye on it. I don't think so much the British when you're getting back. You know, we're not bothered. Just want to make sure we've got proper passport and stuff. I remember arriving back once with the kids from France, and Marcus's passport had expired while we were away. And border force man looked a bit cross and said, well, what are you going to do? Not let us in? His passport was valid a week ago. Has it suddenly become invalid now? He just looked grumpy and let us in anyway. I think I might be tricky. Caroline thinks I've got opposition defiant disorder or something like that. Not sure she's quite right. Do I flip my visor down at some point? Perhaps I don't. Perhaps that's it. Maybe we're just looking at space forever. Yeah. Probably. I must look down again at some point. Because I've got to get out of Plymouth. And that's not much of a guide. There's a beautiful clear blue sky there, isn't it? Don't see that often in Plymouth. And trees, look. There must come a point here, Watkins, where you decide enough's enough and put your thing down. We're probably just still coming up to that little roundabouty thing, aren't we? By the port. And then as we get up some speed, I'll think, oh, yes, I've got a cold face now. I have to put my... Oh, there we are, see. Sunny Plymouth. And we whiz round the corner there. Very red, isn't it? Very red. Mind out, she gave a little tiny scurry, but we managed not to run her over. And here we are, Plymouth, on a Friday night, coming on to Union Street on a Friday night. Haven't been on a Union Street on a Friday night since sixth form, I don't think. And those were the days, eh? Every time we went to Tristan's dad's club, one of us would claim it was our birthday, so we got a few extra drinks. I ended up driving, which wasn't always good. Lesson in life, don't be the first to learn to drive. Drive on the left, drive on the left, remember to drive on the left. Bit of flashy lights on that pizza place. It looks nice in the sunshine, doesn't it? Can I squeeze up the inside? Can I squeeze around the outside? Not really. I'll stay put, shall I? Yeah, stay put. Be good. Stay put. Just in a position to keep an eye on the lights. There we are. Amber. Yeah, off we go. And we're rolling. Rolling. Do. That's better. Let's get a bit. Oh, I'm on the right. Oh no, I'm still on the left. That's all right. Yay, that was a good move. I always get stuck at this bit of Plymouth. I'm not sure what on earth's going on. Because it comes to this next roundabout, and I actually got to go. I always think I want to go right, and I've got to go straight on. I'm easily confused. Speed. Oh, I'm still doing 50 kilometres per hour. I've got to change that back. Can I do that now? I better wait a minute until I actually get properly stop somewhere or a bit of straight so I can do it, because I do try and stick to the speed limit mostly. I know, never used to, but I do now. Had a quick think about doing it then. Just recceing which buttons to press. Should I press this one? Or I could press that one. Tell you what, let's accelerate away. Ruff, 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 ruff. Exeter Kingsbridge. And this is the one I think I want to go right, but for some reason it doesn't really go that way because I've got another one to do yet, haven't I? Gotta go over there and then over there. No. Oh, that was convenient. Oh, cheeky, going through red light with your takeaway on a Friday night. I don't want to get it cold, I suppose. Don't want to let it get cold. And then whatever happened to that Grunewelle thing, where the wave of green, where once one light's green you let through the next one and the next one sequentially, because they all change in turn to let the flow of traffic through. I'm sure that used to be a thing. and my dad talking about doing it on Oxford Street once as well. But it's maybe because I've said Grunewelle, I'm thinking it's a German thing. Keep to your lane, honestly. So I think I've had enough of Plymouth. I'll probably press my button in a sec and get out of here, because I'm thinking about doing the sat-nav miles per hour thing. Perhaps I just forgot the video was on. Probably that's what happened, actually, to be honest. Oh, look, is that a Westie? No, maybe not. Hasn't got a Westie. Tell me what sort of dog that is. Oh, it's a terrier type thing, isn't it? Yeah, let's get underway. Ooh, accelerate the lights, and got there while they were still red. Hooray! Not sure that was my best success. What is that building over to the left? Is it part of the university? I'm on the left of where it says studios and events. Never noticed it. It's almost got like a fancy facade. And right, and here we go. Which lane am I supposed to be in? Absolutely no idea. I'll carry on down here. That looks about right. Oh, there's a lane moves across. I'll go into that middle one. There's the Bondo Church, whatever it's called. And arrive just in time to keep going after the silver car. Around the bend, keep to the left, drive on the left, drive on the left, drive on the left. Well done. And around we go. We chain making that clunky thing all the time. That's it. I haven't managed to stop. I managed to get a bit of pain in my hip. Stopping becomes a bit of a pain, actually. I think it's probably a bit of arthritis. When they did the scan for my kidney stone, they did show my hip, and my hip does seem to have a bit of arthritis in it, which is a bit disappointing at 54. But then with my mother having an arthritic hip and my dad having had an arthritic hip, and my younger sister having an arthritic hip, it's no surprise, I suppose. Ah, settings. That's the one. Which bit of settings am I after? Not Bluetooth. Next one, maybe? Maps? No, doesn't look like it. I'm sure there's one which is obvious. Come on. Sounds? No, doesn't sound like it. There must be one. Units, that's the thing. And there's one in there says miles and things. That's the one, right. So we can get out of there. Ooh, keep an eye on the traffic, and I managed to. How's it come? It's gone dark. But yay, miles per hour. Finally, that wasn't too tricky. Managed to do that while driving along. ETA 9 minutes past 9. Look at that sunshine, and it's what time does it say on the thing? 20:37, and it's sunny. Now this black pickup, he does go slow. I think I probably should have abbreviated this section. Just getting off the boat should have been enough. But we're sort of committed now, and I'm talking, and I have no idea how this software works. So I think I'm just going to keep going. Because looking at it, there's probably about 30 seconds more of this video section. This just eats Guy. He doesn't know how to cycle. He's not wearing a helmet. Pedaling like that. Honestly. You want your food to be hot when it arrives, don't you? Not some bloody amateur who's just decided to buy a bike. And, well, fair play. He's out earning a living, I suppose, isn't he, doing it? I always imagine these Just Eat people, deliveroos or whatever they are, being proper cyclists with, fast bikes and fitness and all that sort of thing. Not what we saw there, really. Maybe I don't actually ever stop the video. We'll see. I'm going to pause here, and then we'll see what happens from there on in. 52 So actually, here's the remaining bit. Okay, alright, hopefully I've managed to sort it out so we give up on this at this point. There we are. Back to Totnes, there's the man in the shorts. It's getting a bit dark. You can see in the haze of the video that it's doing that sort of thing. Street, Street. Down the bend. Down to the... Oh, fucking hell. What's the bill covered in? Ooh, posters. They're obviously having some. They put at a jaunty angle that suggests it's done deliberately. And here we are home. Yay! Let's put the hazards on. Make it clear we're stopped. Oh, foxgloves, look, they're looking good. Right, Deb, you can hop off. And I'll clamber off too. And you're going to run on in. Oh, let's just see. Have I stiffened up? Riding in the cool? Probably. How are we getting on? Key, just make sure. Okay, that's enough of that. Yep. Oh, hair's looking lovely. Oh, and here we are. What's going on inside? Oh, it's a little dog. Just pleased to see everybody. Everybody's here. Everybody's here.